Hello and welcome to my time machine. I've been working on this for a few years now, and just come here, come here, come on, let's go. Let us travel back in time to the 1960s, the greatest example of American excess. Everybody was driving around in big old space-age cars with 440 Magnum, 6 packs, 4 speeds. That had them big old jumbo willy bars. God damn it, my car hop a coke can, goddamn. You buy a car and go right off the showroom floor, goddamn. Put a 3/4 can in it. Life was truly great. Nobody cared. Gas was 33 cents. Let's put a fucking 8-liter V8 in it. God dang it. Because why not? And let's have that V8 make 400 horsepower. Then suddenly everything changed. Well, at least in the citizens' eyes. I'm sure American foreign policy, they've been sticking their dick in everything for a lot longer than that. But hey, we noticed in 1973. So what happened? I'm ripping this straight off of Wikipedia. In October 1973, the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries, OAPEC, announced that it was implementing a total oil embargo against the countries who had supported Israel at any point during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, which began after Egypt and Syria launched a large-scale surprise attack in an ultimately unsuccessful attempt to recover the territories that they had lost in Israel during the 1967 Six-Day War. In an effort that was led by Faisal of Saudi Arabia, the initial countries that the OAPEC targeted were Canada, Japan, Netherlands, United Kingdom, and good old US of A. In March 1974, OAPEC lifted the embargo, but the price of oil had risen nearly 300% from the US $3 per barrel to nearly US $12 per barrel. And what did that mean for the average person? Which was driving around in a big block V8 four-door station wagon that got 12 miles to the gallon? Hell, gas stations ran out of gas. The gas stations that did have gas had lines wrapping the whole block for people waiting on gas. There were rations. People could only get 10 gallons at a time. It was just going crazy. The price of gas raised 43% in 1 year. They were trying to ban people from using Christmas lights, bro. You imagine if they tried that today? Half the country would riot. They do Jan 6 too, Electric Boogaloo. Oh, and we took the excuse to be racist to Arabs, of course, because, that's what we do best. That's what we do best. And that solely sent automakers from making big muscle cars and big old luxury barges with 400 horsepower, big block V8s to economy cars and personal luxury cruisers. Well, not quite. There was a lot of reasons, but we'll get to that. Right now, I want to focus on this personal luxury cruiser segment because I'm pretty sure it was a segment that existed before, but one of its major selling points, the motor.
Torino, 1969. Choose from 6 V8s.
One of the major advertising points, the motor.
Owned and fired in the white heat of competition. Torino 1969, with 6 models, including the 2-door hardtop.
Now, what are car companies going to do when they have the same motor in the car, but it makes half the horsepower? How are they going to advertise that? That's shit advertisement right there. Making your car sound like shit, which it kind of was. What did they do?
Monte Carlo by Chevrolet. Monte Carlo. It's so special, so drivable, so very personal. You'll probably want to park it yourself.
Shag, leather, shag, Landau tops. Besides the need for compacts, personal luxury cars were all the rage. Everyone wanted to roll around in a 19-foot, 5,000-pound car that were garbage. Sure, to me they're cool. So are the compacts, because I'm looking at it all with yellow tinted goggles. But at the time, consumers weren't happy. Build quality was worsening, and so was the option in cars. Hell, you could buy a Gucci trim Seville Looking back, yeah, we needed seatbelts and catalytic converters, and it did start technological advancements that would help later on. Automakers just struggled a bit to get there. We had these like hippies like caring about the air they breathe. Like, wait, what the fuck you doing, hippie? Don't you smoke weed anyways? Why you care if you breathe a little carbon monoxide, you fucking bitch? But yeah, we had that. We had a Ralph Nader who wrote a book. That's it. He just wrote a book. And that influenced the U.S. government to do something with that Clean Air Act they put out in 1963 and stricten up on safety and emissions. Because smog was bad back then. If you look at photos of smog in L.A. and stuff, it genuinely was bad. And it's like all these cars were like, you know, no mufflers and shit. Well, I mean, they had mufflers, but, you know, they didn't have cats. They didn't have no fucking, no sort of emissions equipment. And we just kind of forced it on automakers all at once, along with safety standards. Which is a W, by the way. I mean, yeah, all these cars were like steel body and solid as fuck, but you get a 5 mile per hour fender bender, you know, you're breaking your neck because you don't have any headrest. I mean, seatbelts. The steering wheel is gonna stab you. It's designed like a knife. The dash is metal, and it's also got fucking pokey things that's just ready to take an eyeball out. But with the addition of catalytic converters, switching from leaded to unleaded gas, and just the need to make these emission numbers, thanks to what I believe were CAFE standards, companies just didn't have the technology at the time to do that with their cars and then keep the same horsepower ratings. So horsepower dropped drastically. We went from making hot rods to slow personal luxury cruisers that took 20 seconds to get 0 to 60. Granada. That plus the 5 mile per hour bumpers spoiling the looks of what, you know, once were super sleek, sexy hot rods to now big, bulky barges. And don't get me wrong, I love them as much as the next guy. I'm not here to hate on Malaise cars. I think they're cool. In fact, I would own a Mustang too. Still doesn't change the fact that it's a Ford Pinto. Trucks, funnily enough, were exempt from this rulings, so that allowed Chrysler to make what was called the Little Red Express, the probably only hot rod to come out of the mid-70s. A pickup truck. A little red pickup truck. Heavy motor in it. We got stacks, too. My grandpa would have loved. No, my grandpa was a Ford guy. He probably hated this truck. But he made his 60 F100 look like that.
Chevy's America. Come on over to your Chevy dealer and see what's new today.
This new class of car popped out called the subcompact. Now, if you're from anywhere other than America, subcompacts have existed for a lot longer, probably because America eviscerated you in some sort of war. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, because we were the one doing the eviscerating, we never had the need for a subcompact until now. So how did the automakers respond to this new category of car? John DeLorean whipped up the Chevy Vega, which was excellent at being a failure. It was built crappily, and it was just not a good car. But to not be outdone, Ford whipped out the Pinto. And I mean, do I really need to talk about the Pinto? The Pinto's been beat to death, so I think I'm just gonna, y'all know. Chevy tried again with the Chevette, and it did okay. But eventually they threw in the towel and buddied up with Toyota and made the Chevy Nova, Toyota Corolla. Ford became butt buddies with Mazda and Kia, and they had the Festiva, which was a Mazda 121. Chrysler did things differently. The first thing they did was not design a car, but import a car. That failed. Then they imported another car. The first car they imported was the Hillman Avenger. They're like, this isn't working. And they started importing another car, the Mitsubishi Lancer. And while they were doing this, they were designing their own subcompact. See, the other companies designed their own subcompact immediately, rushed it to market, it failed, and then started importing. Chrysler started importing until they had a subcompact they could sell, the Dodge Omni. And then they had the Chrysler K platform, which was a platform of subcompacts. But you could get a station wagon, you could get a minivan, you could get a pickup truck. They had a whole lineup. And it did use some Mitsubishi motors, but some Chrysler motors too. Chrysler really shined in this point, and it kind of saved them. Lee Iacocca saved their ass. The compact craze was so crazy that they started downsizing their larger personal luxury cruisers. The full size of the 70s was not the same as the full size of the 80s. I mean, let's just look at the Chevy Malibu, the Chevy Caprice, the Ford Thunderbird. I mean, these are just great examples. And in short, what ends up happening is everybody understands the need for a subcompact car. All the Japanese cars start coming in because they see an opportunity to start selling their subcompacts that they've already been making their entire life when we bombed the shit out of them. But, they bombed the shit out of our automakers, essentially. So bad. And the story continues until the mid-'80s, where, finally automakers started getting their shit together. Ford Mustang was finally starting to make 200 horsepower again. And, the Malaise era was ending. Muscle cars were coming back. Hot rods were coming back. Personal luxury cruisers were still big, but they're going to be on their way out in the next 10 or 20 years. And so were the land barges, or so everyone assumes, because the land barge never left. So where are we now? Giving a lot of money to Israel. People are mad. The price of gas is going up. Everyone feels the effects of inflation worsening in our daily lives. The government is pushing automakers to switch to EVs, but they aren't ready. We can either buy a Toyota Corolla or a Nissan Sentra, or spend $30,000 on a hatchback with a lift kit and an iPad in the dash. For the most part, everything has an iPad in the dash. Infotainment is the new rage. They're also pushing a bunch of new safety features, or distractions, if you will. All the automakers are struggling with EVs, not just the Americans. The only company to really be able to do it successfully to mass produce and sell EVs is Tesla. And look at their build quality. Familiar, huh? Detroit's big three really can't get their EV game together, causing them to be steamrolled by Tesla and Kia. Look at the Mach-E, the Chevy Bolt, or the Equinox EV. Hell, the new Lightning. They suck. And look at what we're doing good at making /what's selling. 19 feet, 6,000 pounds, luxury barges with miles of leather and blackout trim and the biggest iPad you can fit on the dash. Oh, and this time it's a jacked up truck, so you can avoid that gas guzzler tax and the cafe standards that came from the Malaise era. Tell me the difference between this and this. Tell me right now. I'm waiting. Besides the technology, tell me what's different. It's the exact same fucking concept. Yeah, there's more techs and cars are definitely faster, but we are on the brink of something major happening in the auto industry that's going to change everything. The horsepower wars that's seemingly reaching its end, just like the horsepower wars that ran through the 60s and ended in 73. Luxury trucks and SUVs are all the rage and the perfect example of American excess. So, what do I think is going to happen? A major powertrain shift will happen like in the 70s, except we will be switching to EV, and the American companies, stuck in their ways, will be doing what they're doing now and trying to make luxury EV trucks and SUVs. They won't perform the same as their gas or diesel counterparts. And until they can make them perform, they will load them with miles of iPad screens, moon roofs, and all the self-driving bullshit. The new Escalade literally has an iPad across the whole dash. Bro, that is my nightmare. It side note, that pisses me off. There's no way that's not a distraction. Fucking Stacy taking her kids to soccer practice can now text and drive, watch a YouTube video, fucking probably use a computer screen as a mirror for her makeup, all on her car's fucking built-in fucking movie theater screen. Fuck it, I'm not calling it an iPad anymore. It's a movie theater. Your car's got a fucking movie theater in it. The only thing we really lack is options for subcompacts, but we do have crossovers. We do have baby SUVs. I guess the only difference is right now we still have the power and like the internal combustion engines, but how long is that gonna last? How long until the US government's like, EV time? EV time, time to eat your lithium. Vroom, here comes the airplane. Say, ah. The automakers are going to go, ah. They're not ready. I mean, they could be ready if they wanted to, but they chose not to. EVs cannot compare to their gas counterparts. I'm sorry, they just don't. Instant torque is cool, but it's like not really a necessity. And I would definitely rather, being able to drive across the United States over that. The charging isn't there yet. Nothing is there yet. Like, nobody wants to wait a few hours when you can pump gas in 5 minutes. And we're being forced to switch to this. All the safety features, that's going to add money. That's going to add cost to the cars. So the cars are already going to be more expensive. It's going to be harder to sell cheap subcompacts, so they're going to start loading them up with iPads and leather and moonroofs and selling you personal luxury cruisers. The only like affordable EVs like the Leaf and Prius, and even both of those are getting up there in price. The rest are literally personal luxury cruisers. And then let's look at the gas cars that are still being made, because the Malaise era wasn't purely the subcompact switch. They still made the old school land barge. And they still do, except now it's jacked up and it has all-terrains and a truck bed, or sometimes it's in the shape of a SUV, like a long-ass Suburban. But it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. Chevy Suburban, Chevy Caprice, which I believe is just murdering the pickup truck market. Like, back in the day, you used to be able to buy like a decent small pickup truck to do some work in. Now you really can't. Now it's like the base model's still gonna have fucking lane departure assist, fucking all that bullshit, reverse cameras, and an iPad. Like, base models still have iPads in them. That should tell you everything you need to know. And they're getting bigger. And they're getting bigger. Just like the cars were at the very beginning of the oil crisis. Which, if we're following the Malaise era, as the Malaise era continues, because I feel like we're at the start. I probably should have specified. We are at the start. Like, the crossing over into the Malaise era. That's where I feel we are right now as a society. And if it continues, that should mean these fucking pickup trucks get smaller. And that's a good thing. They're probably gonna have to if we're switching to EV, because I mean, let's be real here. How you gonna push that big ass fucking Suburban around? So what do? I guess we just deal with the crap cars until companies finally get their shit together and start making proper EVs. I've been a EV hater. I won't lie, hydrogen guy myself personally, but if I look at it kind of retrospectively, I have hope for the future. I think it's going to take like 10 years before they start making a good EV or an affordable EV that's like not a fucking luxury car. But that's a different conversation as well, because the auto market isn't the exact same as it was. It's like it's getting to the point again where it's like cars are a luxury. Well, a new car is. And if you like this video, I will tackle my full-on thoughts on the auto industry in the next one, which I already have a script written out. It's fucking 6 pages, so that'll be a long one. This was like a page script that I didn't even follow. But yeah, if you like this video, I will do that. If you don't like this video, I will probably do it anyways, just not as quickly. I love you. Good night. Don't be a meanie butt.